Hi Aquarius, how's it going? What I was seeing in the pre-shuffle looked like a little bit of a kind of like sad, nostalgic vibe. I don't know if this is just like a passing moment and you're like feeling like that right now, but in 2 hours you're gonna feel fine, or it's something that's like a bit deeper. We're starting off with Seven of Swords. I'm also seeing Three of Cups. Why is this giving the feeling of like hanging out with somebody you're not supposed to? I don't know, maybe there's somebody that's maybe like not supportive of something that you have going on, or like you're up to something here. You know, when Seven of Swords came out, Ten of Cups was on the bottom of the deck, so this can be like doing something that you think is like you're gonna get a result that you're happy with, but then it's like shockingly not gonna lead you in that direction. Like maybe there's something like this that's going on here. Maybe it's gonna be something different than that. We'll see what else comes out. I'm seeing a relationship. Okay. Seven of Swords, something not being transparent. Three of Cups, connecting, intimacy, authenticity. Something's not adding up here. This feels like with Three of Cups, it can be you hanging out with somebody. It can be you like sharing something. It can be like something maybe like more intimate that's going on. But having Seven of Swords, it can be kind of like you think that you're showing up to the function being real, and you have another person that you feel like is being real, but then they're like hiding something. It can be like something of this nature. I feel like this is somebody around you that's doing this. It's like somebody that you're having an interaction with currently. It's like somebody that says that they support you, but then there's something else that's going on here. Not to be the bearer of bad news, but I definitely get something fishy going on here. You're supposed to be working as a team with this person. That's what the thought is anyway. But with Seven of Swords, something is going on. Something's going on that's not being said. This can also be somebody that has hidden motivations as well, where like you think that they're showing up and working with you on something, but they have like another reason for doing it, but they're not being clear. Like, I will say this with Seven of Swords, it doesn't necessarily have to be like something bad or something malicious, but it can be more so like not being transparent. It can be like having an ulterior motive and not stating that. It can be like you don't totally know why this person is like, what their reasons are for working together, when it already seems like that's been put out there. Like, we're working on this because of this reason, but having Seven of Swords can be like something else motivating them that they're not telling you about. I remember seeing this energy not that long ago. There was an energy that came through that it felt like you and this person, you're working on something together, like a coworker or something like that, and everybody's supposed to be doing their part in the project, but as soon as like everyone leaves the room and the person that's the Seven of Swords is in there, they're like not doing their work, but as soon as somebody comes through, they're like typing away as if they've been doing the work the whole time. It's just like giving that type of vibe here, where somebody, I feel like kind of freeloading on the energy a little bit with the Seven of Swords, and Three of Pentacles, because Three of Pentacles is like, we're all showing up and doing the work, right? And Seven of Swords is somebody being like, yeah, totally, I'm doing the work. But then, and also like getting the benefits of that with the Three of Cups. It can be like, yeah, we got an A+ on this assignment, and this person like actually not showing up and doing what they're supposed to be doing, but they're like getting credit for the work that everybody else is doing. And I'm seeing this be like a kind of, y'all are all intermixed with one another, but I definitely get somebody not doing the work but then getting credit as if they are, like everybody else is. And there is a person or people doing what they're supposed to be doing, but I'm seeing like an outlier that is for some reason getting credit but not doing the work. Some of you, like maybe this actually is a coworker that you're dealing with, that you have this going on, but I'm seeing them be real sly the way that they do it. This can be a project that you're working on with someone. It could be a relationship. If you're getting feelings about it, pay attention. What that can mean too, I mean, having Seven of Swords and having Page of Wands can be somebody going off on a little venture and doing something that they want to be doing, but they're not being transparent that that's something that they have going on. Like if you're involved with someone, you can think that maybe they're like only talking to you, and they can like maybe have something else going on that they're not being clear with you about. Like you can be working on the dynamic with them, because I'm seeing you're actively working with this person, but I'm seeing that there's stuff going on that should be said that's not being said, should be exposed, should be communicated, that's not. And it's like, it's understood that this is something that there should be transparency about it, but I'm seeing there not be transparency because somebody wants to do what they want to do, but they don't want to say that they're doing that. It's like somebody that instead of being upfront and owning what they want to do, there's a like, I'm gonna do what I want to do, but I'm gonna be like sneaky about it. It's this type of vibe. Because what that means, when somebody does something like that, like usually they feel like they're getting some sort of benefit by not being transparent. So it can be like, I can have this and I can have that if I don't say what's really going on here. Something like this. I feel like you have to set boundaries with this person. Okay. The boundaries may actually be calling the whole thing off. We're starting with Seven of Swords and then we're ending with Death. And Death is connected with the Lovers. This may be a relationship that you're like, no more. So this can be like a friendship, it can be a project, it can be a romantic relationship, whatever it is. I'm seeing it come to an end, and it's because you feel like you can't trust this person. Or the other person feels like they can't trust you if this is happening to you. I'm seeing Nine of Swords on the bottom of the deck, which is like, what's going to happen now? What's going to happen next? And there can be kind of like a feeling of upset, as to be expected, because it seems like you had been actively working with this person. To be honest, I kind of get like, there may have been feelings about what was going on, but there could have been maybe like such a focus on like one thing with this person that it was like missing other things that were going on. It's like being so focused on the relationship that you may have missed what this person was doing on like an individual level. Because Queen of Swords has their back turned to Seven of Swords. So you can feel like behind your back, if you're the Queen of Swords, something was going on here. But I'm wondering too if this is like failing to discern something that maybe you were getting feelings about, because maybe there was a part of you that didn't want to admit to it. That could have maybe been something that was going on too. Like, maybe there was stuff going on that you saw out of the corner of your eye, but you maybe like didn't want that to be the case, or maybe you just like, maybe I'm paranoid or something like that. It could have been this that was going on here. But I definitely get, like, you and this person supposed to be working on something together with one another. I can't help but remember that I saw this energy come through before. So this feels in a way almost like a reiteration of that, but this time having the Death card, I wonder if it's like, okay, I've had enough and I'm putting a stop to this. Then I don't care how like scared I am about what's gonna happen. I have to do that for myself because I'm not gonna allow this to continue. And this can even be some type of self-sabotage. Like, I'm not gonna be doing that anymore. I'm gonna change for real. To definitely put an end to this. So yeah, having Seven of Swords and having Three of Pentacles, it does feel like on the surface, it felt like you and this person were working together, but there was stuff going on that was not being said, and it definitely feels like really sneaky. Having Three of Cups and having Page of Wands, you could have felt like really happy about coming together with this person and working on things. But I will say, like, I feel like there was active, deliberate deception when it came to this. The thing about that is that if you're not tuned in with yourself and your discernment, people will be able to lie to you when you're not trusting yourself. But when you fully trust yourself and things that you pick up on, people are not going to be able to deceive you. But that is something that it takes, being in situations like this, to learn how to trust yourself, because we don't always trust ourselves. We can listen to what other people are saying, actions and words are not aligning, and then we believe what we want to believe, only to have something like this happen and be like, I should have trusted myself. So maybe you have something like this that's going on. I definitely do get that stuff was being done on purpose. I think so somebody could kind of enjoy this situation while doing whatever else they wanted to be doing. I do feel it being one of those situations where it's like, oh yeah, we're coming back together and we're working on things and everything's good, and it's like so happy about connecting, when it's like behind the scenes you have this other stuff that's going on that's not being said, and then a need to really look at this. And I feel like somebody's finally putting their foot down. And I don't get this being a happy scenario at all. It's kind of like, we're supposed to be working together. Why are you treating me like that? But also know too that it's not personal. This is happening with you and another person. It's showing somebody that is not in a place of ownership when it comes to what they do. There's a lack of transparency. There's a major lack of compatibility. Because, you know, it's so different being in a situation where you have somebody that's like gonna do what they're gonna do and they're gonna own it, whether you like that or not. But this is somebody that is like really wanting to be in control of the narrative that's going on, not be transparent about what it is that they're doing, and then is manipulating through hiding. And kind of feeling like they're getting away with something here. And some of you may not have seen specifically what was going on, but you may have seen enough that you feel like you can't trust this person. It's like, when my back is turned, I don't trust that you do the same as like when I'm physically here around you. And yeah, having Lovers and having Death can be like, I don't want to be part of this relationship anymore. And having Nine of Swords, this can be something that's genuinely really upsetting. Some of you, it may actually not be that surprising though. It feels sad too, because you can really like this person a lot as well. And if this was somebody that you came back together with for a short time, it may have like felt actually short-lived, because this can be like, let's come back together and try to work on the relationship. and you can be reuniting with this person, but then having death card is like, never mind, that's not happening anymore. I guess something about not telling the truth. I feel a little bit with the Seven of Swords, like somebody sneaking away to go do something and then coming back as if they, like, that lost time just didn't count for anything, but somebody was, like, out about doing something. It feels overall like a lack of emotional transparency. And this can also be I'm getting a download about this. I feel in a way almost like you could have had this false hope. Like if you're the one that you know that you've been being transparent and this is the other person that you've been dealing with, I get almost a feeling of false hope that you guys were like working on something, and you could have even had something specifically where like you had something fun that you were going to be doing with this person, and it felt like you guys were like getting along with one another and that like things were working out. But then I see something happening here where your discernment needed to kick on. And now for some of you, I'm seeing it too, like, I don't know if this for some of you, you may be ending it. For other, or you can be like, I can see that it's the end. Or for some of you, it could also be the other person. Can be. They may have ended things. What I was getting as far as a motivation for why this was taking place is because, now I'm not saying that like everybody's going to see a situation like this. You can have another person in a situation do something completely different. So this just has to do with behavior. I'm solely speaking about that. I'm not saying that everybody in this situation would do the same thing. The person that has not been being honest about like what they've been doing here within the dynamic is because they're not being honest about their feelings, because they're scared about, if they're being honest, what that's going to mean, and it feels like the relationship would be coming to an end, and they're trying to avoid that. And so they're still going off and doing what they want to be doing, but then not telling the truth where they are actually supposed to be telling the truth. Meaning, for example, let's say that you have something going on with you and another person, and part of the agreement is that y'all are going to be honest with each other about your feelings because you're in a relationship. It feels like somebody may be off doing their own thing that they want to be doing because they have feelings like the relationship isn't really working for them anymore, but they, at the same time, they're like scared to let go because of that, meaning that like a new era of their life is going to start, and they've been wanting to put that off. Like basically anything to avoid closing the dynamic out when they're already doing other things that they want to be doing just because of being scared. And if this is you, it can be like the same thing over here. You can be doing anything to avoid the ending of something that you know is already like the relationship is over, but you can be still maintaining it. But I do get like something deliberately going on. Like this isn't somebody being like, I'm unhappy and I'm just not doing something about it. This is like, I'm unhappy and I'm doing things, but I'm not ending the relationship or the dynamic or the situation. And I'm seeing you and I'm seeing another person here. So I feel strongly like this has to do with a relationship that you have. And what I'm also seeing is you have been working on things with this person. So that's why I also feel like it's kind of surprising, because I think the idea is that you guys are working things out with one another and like working on things and trying to figure things out. But I am getting like stuff going on that is making it seem like someone's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm working on it with you, but they're like doing other things that they're not telling the truth about. And I feel like this is like really leading somebody on and really it would just be something synonymous with like leading somebody to believe that they're like totally 100% in when they're not. There's other stuff that's going on. And I want to say this again. There's a difference between like not being 100% in, but then not doing stuff on the side. This feels like not being 100% in and also having like extracurricular activities. That based on the agreement that you have with this person, this is something that should be discussed between the two of you, and that's why it's a problem. I'm seeing Scorpio, I'm seeing Gemini, I'm also seeing air energy here, and I'm seeing fire energy. We can see Queen of Swords as being Libra and King of Wands as being Leo. Now, it doesn't have to be all of those signs, but these can be themes that are coming up. Like Gemini can have to do with needing transparency within the communication, choices that we make, the information that we're working with. And then Scorpio is going to be about ways that we can be vying for power. There can be stuff having to do with power struggles, somebody feeling like, if I'm not honest about this, I get to have the upper hand here. But the reason why this is so contradictory is because you're working on communication with this person. Like, you're working on the relationship with the person, you're working on the dynamic with this person, like actively investing in it. So to have somebody like lead you to believe that they're like wholeheartedly trying to work on things, but then they have this other stuff going on, that's where I feel like it's most heartbreaking and difficult within the situation. And you have to know too that if somebody's doing this with you, as much as even if you catch them, whatever, they can, I don't like know what this person is going to do. If you believe that this person is not affected by it, it's not the truth. Like, this person is going to have like ways where this kind of seeps out from within them. Everything catches up with everybody, so just know that too. But yeah, I'm definitely seeing an unfortunate situation, and I don't like bringing messages like this, but more than anything, the imperative is always the truth within these readings, and this just had to be said. And I think overall what we can see happening here within the dynamic is that, again, there's not transparency about the way that somebody has been feeling, because then they're going to be making themselves vulnerable in a way that they're not willing to do. And then it feels like inevitably something would happen, which feels like if this person was truly honest about the way that they felt, what they've been up to, how they've been feeling, and what's been going on in their emotional world, and what they've been doing within their emotional world, and really what's been going on with them, then it feels like with Lovers and Death that the relationship that you have with them would ultimately come to an end. Because whatever they're doing, it's not okay. So it's like you and this person, what they're doing, and this isn't objectively, it's like in whatever agreement you have with this person, you would feel like if you knew all of what they were doing, that would breach the contract that you have with this person, and so you'd probably end the relationship, which Seven of Swords means they're aware of that and wanting to avoid that. But instead of being aware of that and wanting to avoid that and continuing to participate and work things out with you, they're doing that, but it's more of a front because they have something else that's going on that they're doing. that doesn't have to be the whole story for everybody. I feel like I need to throw that out there. You know, it can be something going on where maybe there's not necessarily, like for some of you, maybe there's not necessarily an extracurricular activity going on, but there is not transparency about how one feels, because they know that if they were totally honest about that their partner would be like, well, the relationship should end then. And somebody that wants to avoid doing that but can be having feelings that they're not sharing. Yeah, it can be having feelings. This can be like having feelings for another person or other stuff that's going on. And what I'm seeing is that there's an expectation that these things would be communicated and not being communicated. So it's just like whatever it is that's occurring, this should be being spoken about. It's not being spoken about. There's an expectation that something like this would be shared and that the partner would want to know what's happening, and that it's deliberately like being kept under wraps. And this can also be a friendship too. It doesn't have to be a romantic partnership. As I said before, it can be a coworker, it can be somebody you're working on a project with, it can be somebody like you have like some sort of event you were going to be going to with them, or like y'all are working on something together. It can really be many different types of relationships. Or you were like trying to work on something or do something with another person. I just get this thing, like overall the theme is the person that's the Seven of Swords saying like, I'm 100% invested in this, but that's not true. I have been seeing Seven of Swords and Libra coming out in a lot of the readings, and I'm seeing it here as I'm putting these cards back. This feels like things being rectified between you and this person in a way that it may not be easy to do, but it's going to reinstate a sense of balance that hasn't been there. And like fairness and autonomy. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing there be like shared feelings involved and like working on things with you and this person. But something going on that's not being talked about. This can even be somebody like wanting something or being interested in going in a particular direction, but not indicating that at all. I'm getting something about cinnamon rolls coming through so strongly. You know what this is reminding me of? Those ones, not the ones that you bake, but the pre-bought cinnamon rolls. It comes in a package. I haven't seen them since childhood. It comes in a package of them. I don't even know if they still make them anymore. There's like maybe like 6 or 8 of them in the package, and when you take one of them out, you could like unroll it all the way. That's coming through so strongly. If you are the person here that is assessing this situation, I'm seeing Virgo here too. If you're the one that's been assessing this situation, I feel in a way like there's an awareness, but the awareness comes through intuition. I don't think that you'd physically be seeing things, but you can pick up on stuff. So that can mean like you didn't maybe like catch somebody in the act of doing something, but there are like intuitive instances that if you're paying attention and start connecting the dots, it's going to paint an entire picture for you. But this can also be being held off. Like we can hold off admitting this because we're having a hard time. We can be having a hard time surrendering. We can be having a difficult time ending what needs to be ended. And we can just be stammering and not really want to do it. Because that's going to be like final call, curtain closing. That's that. Yeah. Yeah, when I'm picking up the deck, I'm seeing Justice and I'm seeing the Devil, and what this can mean is like all of the ways that we don't bring things back into alignment because we're telling ourselves that it's better to put up with this situation, and that temporarily we can feel like, okay, like things are actually okay, and we can feel pacified with the energy, ignoring that there's a much deeper issue at play here, and we're ultimately just scared of the big change that we're meant to be making. Because then what is our life going to look like? And there can be a big avoidance of that, whether we're like aware that we're doing it or not. All right, my friends, the reading is ending here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting and for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.